I wanted to show you guys my painting desk and how I have my lights set up. And most importantly, the magnifier that I paint with. Now, when I was younger in this hobby, I heard the older guys say, "Oh, I paint with a magnifier." And I thought, "Oh, that sucks for them." Well, when I hit around 42, I needed to get prescription reading glasses, and I wear those when I paint, as well as use this magnifier with an LED light. I highly recommend you guys paint with one, especially the younger generation, because it will help your eyes. I've been painting for a long time, since I was about 15, and I'm 45 now, so I definitely recommend getting a magnifier. I have these lights here. These are 100 LED daylight bulbs, and I just have it in the area of where I'm painting so you can see how much light is coming down on there. Some may think that's excessive, and that's okay. It works for me. There are times I do have to wear some suntan lotion though. So I at least wanted to show you guys the setup of my desk and how I have my lights so that it might help you in your painting. Now on to the uniform. Hi guys, it's Tim again. Well, I am making this video for you guys, the ones especially who requested that I do a video tutorial on how I paint AOR camouflage, and this same technique can be applied to Desert MARPAT. In my opinion, it's the same uniform. I'm sure the Uber geeks would argue with me, because people just love to argue about things. However, at the tabletop level, it looks the same. So this is what works for me. I'm sure that there are other ways that people use and techniques that they use to paint this type of camouflage, but this is what works for me. So what we're looking at here is one of the new Special Artisan Service Miniatures U.S. Navy SEAL. And this is one of my favorite poses that I have here. This is a tack reloading pose I thought would be cool to showcase and show a demo of. What I do to save time, depending upon the color of the uniform, I will spray prime a base coat of a like color. So, for instance, this is AOR, so it's a tan, or a light tan base uniform with a lot of shadows. So what I did was I first sprayed this with a medium gray, and then I oversprayed with a khaki color, which is Krylon's desert camo that you can pick up at Walmart or wherever, but it's great. It's a great camouflage color to use. I use that a lot when I base coat my buildings that are going to be in desert. It saves a lot of time. Now, if you're going to be airbrushing desert buildings, I would recommend, especially for lighter colors, I would recommend priming in white versus a darker color. Because with airbrushing, you work the opposite. You work the lightest to darkest first. But anyway, so again, this is a figure, and what I wanted to show you first was the palette. Now, a lot of guys use different things for palettes. If I'm going to be painting, a big army, a big squad, I use my wet palette. I love my wet palette. It's great. I have a Masterson's wet palette. I have two of them, one for the base coats and then one for shades. But, for this demo, I just use wax paper. It's awesome. I don't have to, it's cheap. You can buy the wax paper at Aldi's for, 98 cents, if that. So I just cut myself a square, and I'm going to show you how I do a shaded base coat technique. Now, I learned this from, in my opinion, a master, James Wapple, who I met, and I sell his painting videos. So this is not my technique. This is a technique that he has mastered and continues to master, and me just absorbing his videos, watching his videos, I use the technique, and it works great. Is it the same way he uses it? No, I'm sure it's not, but it works well for me. So in the shaded base, the idea behind a shaded base coat is it's a quick way of achieving a shaded base coat very fast without having to paint first this, you know, this is Iraqi sand, letting that dry, then applying some shadows with this, and then going back and dry brushing with this, just to achieve the shades. This is a quick and dirty way of getting color down. It's going to look ugly, and you're going to say, what the F? What is he doing? Just bear with me. I understand. I had the same reactions, but I promise you this is what works. Okay, so because it's shaded base coat, I want to start with a darker shade of the uniform to capture all the highlights. Okay, I'm sorry, capture all the shadows. Now, I'm sorry this is out of focus. I'm not a professional video guy. I'm just learning, so I'll do my best to get this guy back in focus. I apologize. So, okay, here you go. So I shake this up. This is a good shade for Iraqi sand. This is Vallejo Model Color Beige Brown. And what I do is I just take a dropper, drop one paint. I don't want to go too dark on this shade because this uniform itself is a lighter color. So I don't want to spend too much time trying to recover what I did and correct my mistakes. So let me see here, the camera, as you can see, this is my palette. And I'll just drop a water in there. So most of my painting that I do for uniforms, like to get the shaded base coat on, instead of using really expensive brushes, I use these craft brushes that James Wapple recommend that I get at Hobby Lobby. They're awesome. So I'm just going to mix this up, and you can see it's a browner shade. It's darker, and I might want to add some more brown, just a little bit more. Okay. Now I don't want, I have water in this. I may add just a little bit more drop. I'm not trying to wash the figure. This is the base coat. So I'm wanting to cover this figure with this color, complete. Okay. So, and the white balance of this camera sucks. So, but basically this is a darker shade of this. What I do is take this other craft brush, take this figure, get this back in focus for you guys. Okay, and I will just start applying the paint all over. Because, especially the flesh, this color is a good base for the flesh. It just works. And when you're painting with a bigger brush, look at the time that you save with applying the base coat. You know, it's just, it saves you a lot of time. Let's see here. How's this look? Trying to get it back into focus for you guys. Sorry. But I think you get the point of what I'm doing here. Now, this may not be enough dark for me. So that's easily fixed. And I'll show you what I do for that. Just to get the initial base coat down. I'm looking at my monitor, looking at my screen, and trying to get this figure painted, so it's a challenge here. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm trying to save me time in the very beginning with shadows. And I've achieved that mostly. But what I'm going to do is take another drop of paint of Iraqi sand, another drop of beige brown, get some water in there, mix it up. Okay, that's a little bit darker. Awesome. So then I'm just going to directly apply that dark, get back in focus. And if you guys are no video guys, send me a message so I can better improve this, how I do these things, because I don't have time to learn everything. So whatever I can do to make things better and easier for you guys, let me know. So what I'm doing now is I'm applying a darker color into the areas where the shadows would be. Between the legs here, you know, the crotch area down below here. This is where shadow hits. Underneath the arm. Fucking camera. Underneath the web gear. Okay, so now we've got a base color here. We've got some shades. There's some areas that are darker. Now, what I want to do is start quickly applying the first highlights. Well, actually, the first base coat, or a brighter base coat. So I'm going to add more Iraqi sand to this mix of the paint that I've already got down on my palette, and add some water. And I'm going to mix it up. So there is a difference. You'll see a difference here. And it's hard to tell on the camera, but you'll see it. There is a difference. And then what I do is I take my craft brush and I immediately look for areas that are going to be highlighted areas. Come on. Okay, so where are the highlighted areas, just to help me save time here? Well, right on the thigh, top of the thigh. For purposes, just for my own sanity, I'll do the top of the boots. Okay, you can see a difference there in color. Top of the plate carrier, top of the helmets, shoulder. We want some midtones. We want some midtones, so we don't want to apply this highlight all over back here because we want to show a gradation. And using glazes and washes, we will get darker here. But I'm just going to put some right there. Put some right there. Okay, here's the back of the figure. Get back in focus. Where's the light hitting? Oh, the light's hitting up the top here. The light's hitting across the shoulder. The light's hitting in the elbow. The light's hitting right there. The light's hitting the top of the shoulder. The gluteus. Okay. The light's hitting right here. Light's hitting right there. So, let's see. I'm sorry, guys. You can see there is a difference in shading. Now, these are not thick layers. But it's also not a glaze, so there is a difference. But you can see right off the bat the gradation and the change. Okay, now all this paint's still wet, and I want to take advantage of that. So I'm going to then apply pure Iraqi sand. I'm just taking the Iraqi sand and putting it in a completely separate area of the palette that doesn't have any of the base color at all. And I am going to put a drop of water in, mix it up, and pretty much have pure Iraqi sand. I may do another spot, but here. So then now what I'm going to do is, because this paint is still wet, the advantage of the shaded base coat technique is that all this paint can dry together. So now I'm taking even more pure Iraqi sand and applying it to even more areas where the light would just come across and hit it. Sorry, I keep forgetting that I'm videoing this. I'm in my own world. So I'm doing straight across here. That's where the light's hitting. The light's hitting at the top part of the helmet. The light is hitting at the elbow. The light is hitting on the right butt cheek right there. Right here. Right here. And you can imagine where the light is. I mean, I'm just putting the light at basically where I think the light would be. But it's, you know, the whole idea between zenithal lighting and all that sort of stuff, where the zenith is the sun or the light, and it's coming straight down. Let me see if I can back this out more. So you can see the difference in shades. I'm going to do a couple right here. Now again, this doesn't have to be perfect. This is not about perfect. This is not about pretty. This is not about, oh my God, I messed this up. got paint mixed into an area that I didn't want it to be. No, this is about just getting paint down on the figure. And the advantage to this is when this dries, it will dry naturally, and it will dry with the colors, like the translucent layers. And it will save you so much time, because once this figure is dry, we'll then go back to start applying even more highlights. We'll use a better brush, and we'll achieve a brighter gradation, so that when we use the washes and the shades, it will tone that down. That's one thing I definitely learned the hard way, is that the best thing to do when using this technique and using washes and glazes is that it's brighter is better. So I hope this segment helped, and I'm going to let this dry, and the next segment will be establishing the highlights again. I know it's hard. It's kind of hard to see on this, but I'm trying. But again, I hope that you can see right here the difference. So.